What's up, everybody? My name's Rahul Alim from Custom Creatives, and today I'm sitting down with Daron Campbell, one of the greatest real estate agents of all time. This man has $4 billion in transactions. That's B with a Billy, and he's the #1 RE/MAX agent of all time in apartment sales. Daron, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Man.
Yeah, of
good
course.
to see you.
Yeah, you too. I mean, I met Daron at an event in San Diego, and I had to get him out here. His story was just inspiring. He was speaking in front of about 300 of us, and I just wanted to ask you questions and kind of get the audience to know you too, because it's just an incredible journey. So before we get into your journey and your background, what are you up to now?
Oh, wow. What am I not up to? I recently made a big brokerage move to a brand new platform, brand new brokerage, fastest growing real estate brokerage in the US called EXP. It's pretty amazing. Just made a move over to there with the designs of growing a significant organization. I got 1,000 agents targeted. I'm kind of an ambitious guy. That's the plan.
So you're recruiting 1,000 agents?
That's the plan.
Amazing.
That's the plan. And then besides that, I continue to look for opportunities to buy and sell real estate every day. And then I also teach investing. I have an online course, which is kind of why I was down at the Billie Jean Summit that weekend with you, because we're growing an online audience who wants to learn how to invest. I teach people how to invest, whether they have the capital for it or not. That's kind of the key. So I teach people how to raise capital, to acquire real estate, to reposition it for profit.
So before you got into real estate, obviously your backstory was pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a little sneak peek inside?
I'll give you the quick version of it. My mother, brother, sister, and I moved to California from Chicago, and I was 14 years old.
What year is this, by the way?
This is 1982.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
1982. And we moved to California. My parents had just gotten a divorce, and we thought, okay, we need a change of scenery. We need a different life. Let's make a new start in California. We had been on vacation here once, and we said, let's make a move. So we made the move, thinking everything was going to be fine because the divorce had, finalized, and so okay, well, let's go out there and make our way. Little did we know that the divorce thing wasn't going to happen. My father basically refused to pay, and this was a day and age when they didn't throw you in jail so fast for not paying your alimony and child support, so he just didn't pay. And so we basically found ourselves struggling mightily, became homeless for a brief minute, and struggled terribly. And there was this turning point, this critical moment that I remember like it was yesterday. And we had to stay overnight in the car. And being in that car, being helpless, being homeless was a seminal moment for me. It's a sad moment, but it was a turning point. I remember sitting in the back seat of that car, ready to go to sleep, thinking, this is not the way my life's gonna play out. I'm not going out like this.
And you're 14 years old.
I'm 14 years old, man. And from that moment on, I said, I gotta take things into my own hands. I'm letting some guy in Chicago decide that I can't have a life. And that's just not gonna be, I'm not gonna subject me to that, and I'm not gonna subject that lady in the front seat to that. And so from that day forward, I had a job within 36 hours of that, and worked at the local swimming pool next door to my high school, and been working ever since. And the idea was, I'm not gonna struggle like this ever again. I'm not gonna let anybody else control my destiny like that. And the cool thing was, my mom went out and got a job as a counter clerk at a dry cleaner. And she made minimum wage, basically, or a little bit more than minimum wage, but then she worked her way up, and over the years became the manager of that cleaners. And the coolest part of my whole story is, flash forward 10 years, I went and bought that cleaners and gave it to her.
That's amazing.
That is my proudest accomplishment, actually.
Right. Was that your motivation? Was to satisfy and take care of mom?
Absolutely. That was a driving thing for me. That was, to me, that signified a certain finish line.
Right.
And so when I was able to hand her the keys to a Mercedes and buy that business for her, I felt like I had completed a certain segment of my journey.
That's amazing. And how did you make all this money to do it? Was it all real estate transactions?
Yeah, it was all real estate related. When I graduated from UCLA, and I was fortunate enough to win the Jackie Robinson Scholarship,
amazing,
which paid for my
Congratulations.
UCLA. Thank you. My UCLA education was paid for. Fortunately, I was a pretty good student. I was an A student in high school, and so I won the Jackie Robinson Scholarship. And so I went to UCLA, that my education was covered. And when I graduated, I got hired in the fundraising department by the university. I had a bunch of job offers. I actually had 13 job offers on graduation day. But the one that was the most interesting was in the development department, right? This is where they raise money from wealthy alums. And my job was to research the alumni and decide who we're gonna ask for the next $1 million gift. And so I'm researching all these alums. I'm seeing that all these people that got the real money had a bunch of real estate. And there was a direct correlation between their net worth and their real estate holdings. And so it didn't take me long to figure out that's the game I need to be in, real estate. So I quit my job. I went and got my real estate license. I decided I wanted to sell the big stuff and not the little stuff. So I got hired at Marcus & Millichap, which was the largest seller of apartment buildings in the United States. I got hired there. They say hired. That was kind of funny because my mom at the time said, "You quit your job?" And I was like, "Yep." And I said, "I'm going into real estate." She goes, "Well, how much does that pay?" I said, "Nothing."
That's great.
It pays nothing because it was commission only.
Yeah.
She couldn't stand that idea because she thought, "Oh my God, that means volatility. That means you don't know when you're getting a paycheck." But about 3 years later, when I handed her the keys to a Mercedes, I go, "Mom, you still wish I had that good job at UCLA?" She's like, "No, good move, son."
So where did you learn sales and all these skills to be able to pay the bills, I guess?
Man, it was trial by fire.
Right.
I got hired at that job. They gave me a big catalog this big with the owners' names and phone numbers of apartment building owners. Dropped that on my desk and they said, "Call them." I was like, "Well, which one?" "All of them." What do I say? Ask them if they want to sell their building.
Right.
And so it started out just that raw. Just,
Right.
do you want to sell? 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 Now forget about the fact that if they said yes, I didn't know what to do after that. But the fact is, the work, the real work, the grunt work was get on the phone with 100 people a day, find out who wants to sell their building, get over there and help them figure out how to get that building sold, and a potentially good paycheck was at the other end of it. Well, I screwed up a whole lot, but I was aggressive. I knew that you got to put in the work. So I called and called and called all day. I wrote 180 offers in the first year, most of them garbage offers because I didn't know what I was doing. But I was fortunate enough to sell some property, start learning what made people make moves, what made people tick, what made a deal a good deal, what made a deal a bad deal. But it didn't come without hours and hours and hours on the phones, trial and error, learning my craft, and eventually, I'm a quick study because I'm determined. I couldn't afford to not make money. I couldn't. It was a commission-only job, and I couldn't afford to not make a commission. Matter of fact, I only had about 100 days of survival in me without making a paycheck. So I dove in. I had to make a sale and had to make it fast. So, it's always been a pressure cooker. I think I do well under the pressure. I like it.
I know that's great. Like, do you have a mentor or anybody who taught you sales or took you to the next level that is significant in your life?
I have adopted several mentors, and matter of fact, I've even had some mentors that didn't know they were my mentor.
Right.
But along the way, there have been multiple people in my life that have sort of inspired certain things, and in certain phases, I'd adopt a mentor or two. So, like that first company gave me a mentor who was supposed to teach me and train me. Well, he was kind of terrible, and so then I went to the number one guy in the office. Once I paid this guy off, I owed him 2 deals, half of my check for 2 deals. I got rid of him after 2 deals, and I went to the number one guy in the company. I said, "I'll give you half of my paycheck for the next year if you show me how to do what you do." And it's kind of funny because he's like, well, why me? Everybody here hates me. I go, "Are you number one?" He said, "Yep." I go, "That's why." And so I followed him around for a year. I closed about 7 or 8 more deals, paid him half, and by the time that year was over, I was one of the best salesmen in that company.
See, to be the best, you gotta be like the best,
be
right?
like
You
the
gotta
best.
learn from them.
You gotta hack the best,
Yeah.
right?
And isn't it funny that the people training you aren't always the greatest salespeople, so they're kind of book teaching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had the same experience at Realtor.com, just a book training 2 weeks, then hit the streets without knowing, they have no experience,
Yeah.
and I'm supposed to be successful.
supposed to go and win the game.
The best way was just, like you said, the hard work. Sit with the best, sit with the second best, sit with the third best, find out what's unique between them, then go home, make it your own.
Model them.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody's already doing what it is
Yeah.
you'd like to do. Model them.
So now when you're like, now that you've got like your presentation down, your cold calling down, your like personal skills with people down, like do you ever go back and like change it, or you just ride this whole presentation out so it's very consistent?
Change it all the time.
Yeah.
You adjust, you adapt. Like today the market is shifting. You need to change today. If you try today to do what you did a year ago, next year won't be a good year for you. That's how dynamic real estate is. And if you don't see the shift and change hats, so for instance, in 06, 07, I saw a recession coming. I knew we were about to go into a shift. When those kind of shifts happen, the product types change and go through different phases. So I was an apartment specialist at the time, but what happened was a ton of single family homes started going into foreclosure. So I made an adjustment. I changed hats. I decided we're gonna start buying and selling foreclosed houses because there were thousands of them. And so you could buy them at a 25 or 30 or 40% discount, fix them up, resell them. So that's kind of how I got into the foreclosure game. So I'm adjusting all the time. I'm adjusting right now as we speak because the market's gonna be different next year than it is this year.
And you're actually speaking tonight to a large audience too,
Yeah.
so I even appreciate your time even more.
Well, thanks. It's called Recession Proof Your Business, and we're speaking tonight in Sherman Oaks, and I'm teaching people what to expect in the upcoming marketplace. There are things you can do to make more money than you ever made in a transitioning market. That's really an opportunity.
Right. Now, you've always been in real estate, so you don't see like the digital marketing side, because like us digital marketers, we don't spend a lot of time like learning about the real estate until we've made a lump sum of money, then we start investing into it.
Right.
Like, what do you have advice for somebody who like us that just doesn't follow the real estate market and that just wants to have a trusted advisor?
Well, if you need a trusted advisor, you need some handy advice. Here's the key to real estate is you make money when you buy. You make your money on the purchase, not some pie in the sky I hope is gonna go up one day. What you do is I recommend that people buy properties under the 4D rule. You buy distress, you buy divorce, you buy death, and you buy dissolution of partnerships. Those are the most motivated sellers on planet Earth. So just a guy who's building his digital empire and he's got his millions of dollars coming in as he should invest in real estate, but only buy that real estate from a very, very motivated seller. You get to purchase your discount. So buy from one of those types of sellers, invariably you can get them to sell for less than what the market will bear, and that's the best real estate investing advice I could give anybody.
That must be so difficult to find those opportunities. I guess that's why you need somebody like you, right?
That's why you need somebody like me. But at the end of the day, it's not rocket science, but these are things that are resulting from life happening, right? Think about all the situations I just talked about. That's just life, right? So they're around us, they're everywhere. Somebody on your street is getting a divorce. Somebody on your street is in foreclosure. You just have to know how to find them. And if you find them, they're everywhere. If you learn how to find them, they're everywhere. So the reason I started a digital real estate investing course is because people need to know how to find them, and that's what I teach.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you are extremely seasoned in what you do. So I'm sure a lot of people follow you, whether you know it or not. Are there any specific tips you can give to entrepreneurs out there that'll be watching this?
Always remember, this kind of echoes what Grant Cardone likes to say. It's always going to be harder than it looks. It's always going to be harder than you thought it was. People see me and they see you and they see the trappings. They see the cars and the houses and what looks like, the easy life. But the fact is, no one with that easy life had an easy road. Most of us had to dig out. Most of us had to go through some trials and some tribulations. All of us had to go through a crazy steep learning curve to get to where we got to. And so what people have to remember, because we're in this instant gratification, get rich overnight kind of thinking pattern, when the fact is, I don't know anybody that got rich overnight. Nobody. And I don't know anybody that didn't pay some dues. And I don't know anybody that didn't struggle. And I don't know anybody successful who just didn't have to go through something. And so the fact of the matter is, we're all gonna go through something. You're gonna go through something before you reach the mountaintop. You had to climb the mountain to get to the mountaintop. You don't get to Mount Everest dropped off in a helicopter. You gotta climb Mount Everest. And the fact is, everybody that I know that's uber successful has climbed the mountain. So you gotta bundle up, get your your boots and your pitchfork or whatever those people use to climb those mountains or whatever, and you gotta climb.
Yeah, and clarity is the number one thing too, because a lot of people don't know what they want to do. They're figuring it out along the way. But if you know exactly what you want to do, then you're going to be even more focused and more clear to get there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that when we were at that conference together, Bedros had said something that was actually cool. It stuck in my head. A lot of people don't realize entrepreneurs, you suffer in silence.
Yep.
And it's because you just love what you do, so you're never going to give up. And that's what I'm just
That's
to
right.
echo what you just said.
That's right.
I mean, it's just one of the most amazing. I love that suffer in silence.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Another one that catches my attention, or that I like to echo all the time, is fail faster.
Oh,
Fail
yeah.
more often. Whatever it is you think you want to do, try it. Get on it. Don't waste time. And if you know what? If you strike out or you lose or you get knocked in the head, let's do it faster. Let's fail quicker so I can start the next thing. Or let's start to dive into something that will work. There are so many great businesses and great entrepreneurs that have succeeded after having failed 2 or 3 or 20 times.
Yeah. I mean, look at like Colonel Sanders
Yeah,
and like
right?
Jack Ma. Like
Yeah.
these guys they failed so much that it was just an amazing like
Thomas
story.
Edison,
Yeah.
right? 1,000 cracks at that light bulb,
Yeah.
that incandescent bulb. So you got to just keep hustling.
Like in your office, do you have motivational posters all over the place?
Less than I used to. I used to
Yeah.
have what I used to call them my flight signals. I used to have them all over the walls in the early days. Matter of fact, in that very first real estate company, I sat in a cubicle and I had all of these 3x5 cards with all these sayings all around me so I could stay inspired. I still do that. I still collect great quotes. I have this category in my phone called random brilliance. When I run across something that I think is brilliant, that is inspirational, that keeps me moving, I collect it. And I suggest everybody do it because what you need to do is focus on anything that gives you energy. The energy to keep going, the energy to put in the work. Because we know you got to put in the work. Now, what is it that fires you up, that energizes you to make you not mind the work? Because it's all work, right? You don't get anywhere without the work. You don't get muscles without the work. You don't become wealthy without putting in the work. So what is it that can give you the energy to go do the work? That's what you need. Whatever that is. I tell people, whatever it is. So I used to driving to work at 5 in the morning. I know I'm gonna have to get on the phones and cold call for 4 hours. So what did it take for me back then? It was like some Tupac gangster rap song at the highest decibel with the windows down on the freeway doing 90. And by the time I got to work, I'm jacked and I could talk to anybody. I could sell snow to Eskimos on that one. So whatever it takes to give you the energy. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
No, I just ordered a whole bunch from Iconic. There's these greatest postcard, wall art, basically.
Really?
It's amazing, yeah. And the Michael Jordan poster where it shows, I failed, therefore I succeeded.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things. Now, have you ever done any transactions with celebrities that you can mention?
Celebrities and athletes are a difficult sort because they have handlers who want to control things.
Right.
I don't know if I can mention them. Let me think about that. Who could I mention? I've dealt with some pretty prominent athletes.
What sport? Let's just I'll narrow it down.
Really tall people.
Okay. I think I know. LA
Really
Laker.
tall
Okay.
people with 9 figures in income over the course of their career. Yeah, some of those. And they aren't easy to deal with because they do have so many advisors, handlers, hangers on, etc. And a lot of times it's difficult to get them, meaning celebrities and or athletes, to see the big picture. Because if you're an athlete, let's say you're a football player, well, the average NFL career is about 6 years. So you got to take this fortune that you earn in 6 years and you got to live 60 years. So it's some kind, I try to teach some financial intelligence. Say, look, you got a chunk of money. You'll make 30, 40, $50 million over this next 6 years. We got to show you how to make that 50 million last 60 or 70 years. So there's some fundamental things that real estate will do to give you that longevity. So I tell them invest now while you're hot, while the money's good, so that you won't have to think about it when you're done.
You know what's crazy about bringing up athletes? I watched the show Broke. Have you ever seen that episode?
Yeah.
It was something about like within 5 years
Yeah.
in NFL, 60% of NFL athletes will be broke.
Yeah, and
which is crazy to me.
Well, you know what? They haven't been taught financial intelligence.
Right.
And it's not their fault. They grew up in all kinds of circumstances and nobody taught them, how to handle money or what to do with these large sums of money. And what people don't calculate is there's Uncle Sam, there's taxes, there's insurance, there's the agents in many cases take 10% or more. So now I got guys right now that have an agent, they got a business manager, they got Uncle Sam, who's their partner also. So you hear a guy making 10 million bucks a year, he might take home 4, right? And then there's this fundamental that somebody's got these people going out paying cash for stuff. So guys, think about it. Guy's got a Lambo, a Ferrari, and a Rolls, right? He's got $500,000 worth of cars. He goes and spends $500,000 in cash, which is the craziest thing you could do. But now a guy who's netting $4 million just spent $500,000 in cash. So it just doesn't make sense. And they do so many things because they aren't financially intelligent. So what I like to do is, and I've spoken before groups of athletes for an entire agency, And I try to teach them a little financial intelligence and how the real estate and income producing property could be a long-term thing. So you could take $500,000 instead of buying those 3 cars cash, lease those 3 cars, it'll cost you $3,000 a month, and take that $500,000, go put it down on an income producing property that by the time you retire will be owned free and clear and will generate 10, 12, 15,000 a month on autopilot for the rest of the time you own it. You do a few things like that and you can be set for life, as opposed to having 3 10-year-old cars.
Right. No, I agree, because I think the bling is such an amazing thing to have. Like the only way to kind of really understand why it's not worth it is to do it, make the mistake, and then move on.
And realize that there's a smarter way to go. Exactly.
The car will get you, a Honda and a Porsche will get you to the same location.
Exactly.
Honda
and I'm guilty of it too. You know, I had to have a Bentley. I got it. I didn't pay cash for it though. I leased it. I let the company pay for it.
Yeah,
so you
smart.
see, there's a strategic way to do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Now I have one question I ask everybody. Like, what advice would you give 11-year-old Daron today?
Invest in real estate. Never sell it. Hang on to it. Have a long-term plan for it, and continue to look forward toward investing. Because look, my parents, when they got married, shortly after they got married, had a brand new house built in Chicago. That brand new house cost $24,000. Ground up construction. This is in 1969 or something like that. The point is, the real estate market goes this and this and this and this and this and this, but the trajectory overall is up, right? So there are properties, if they had just simply still owned that house today, that house might be worth, I don't know what it is in that part of Chicago, but it's probably 400 grand, 350, 400 grand. Cost them 24,000 bucks. The biggest mistake is letting it go. So I would tell 11-year-old Daron, collect real estate. Collect real estate. Try to get yourself into a profession where there's no ceiling on your income potential. You can make as much as you can hustle for, and then collect real estate. You do those 2 things, a certain amount of financial independence is assured to you. Don't over leverage. Don't get yourself into debt, too much debt where you can't service the debt if the tenant moves out, et cetera. But the fact is, you should collect real estate.
Right. So I'm super interested in your online course. I got to check this thing out.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Nice.
Everyone should take it.
Yeah.
Everyone should take it. You hear me? Everyone should take it.
Everybody. Make sure you buy that course. So how does somebody get to the course? Where is it?
You get to the course, you can go to yourrealestatementor.org. There's a Facebook group, et cetera. And really, it's a mentorship. So a lot of people are just selling courses, books and tapes or what have you. This is a mentorship where you get me. So I teach you the fundamentals of how to identify properties that the 4Ds consist of. I show you how to raise capital if you don't have the money. I show you how to put together a partnership, put together a syndication so that you can bring in people who want to invest in just whatever it is you're investing in, and they want to ride along. So they'll help fund your deal, if not all of your deal. And so I've done that where I raise all the money from other people. I run the project, we resell it, we all split the profit. So I teach you how to do that. Then I teach you how to reposition a piece of property. So you take this old ugly house and I show you the key things to put into the repositioning that people will pay for. So in other words, there's some things you should renovate that really pay you back and some things you shouldn't. I teach you which of those things are. And then finally, the 4th pillar there is I teach you how to resell that property in a frenzy. What I like to do is create an auction-like environment. It's not really an auction, but I like to get people climbing all over each other, begging me if they could buy that property. And that's what I teach you how to do as well. So I teach you those 4 things, you're fully equipped. I have taught you how to fish. I didn't give you a fish, I taught you how to fish for life. You finish with this course, you are a real estate investor. You have the ability to go out and buy whatever you need to buy to give yourself some financial independence.
Amazing. I'm in.
It's
I'm
great.
sold. I want it.
It's real
I want it
estate
now.
for the rest of us.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to be a silver spoon. You don't have to be born rich. The rest of us can play this game, and that's who I am. I'm the regular guy teaching you how to do real estate, and I'm not bringing you to a seminar and then trying to get you for $25,000 at the end.
Right.
I said we got to make something affordable. We got to make something for the people. We got to make something so that you don't have to be born rich. We got to make something that everyday guy could take it, watch it, learn it, and go out and buy some real estate. Change your life.
So Daron, what made you leave and go to eXp Realty?
eXp Realty has created the greatest platform I've ever seen. This is my 27th year in the business, and I've been with pretty much all the majors. I've been with Marcus & Millichap, Remax, Keller Williams, and Berkshire Hathaway. And I looked at eXp and it blew me away. The reason is eXp has created a model that 1 is agent owned. 2, it created a revenue share model where agents get to recruit other agents and participate in the revenue that those agents bring to the company. That's powerful. People don't understand that. It's super powerful. There are people I know that are making 6 figures a month passively. It's amazing. Third, it's virtual. There are no brick and mortar offices. It's in the cloud. It's the first real estate brokerage company that's in the cloud. So nobody's paying these crazy rents, because when a recession happens, real estate companies go out of business mostly because of their overhead. EXP has virtually no overhead. It's the greatest money-making opportunity I've ever seen in the brokerage business. I couldn't sleep for 2 days after they introduced it to me. I came home, quit my other brokerage instantly, made the move, and I'm gonna grow a 1,000-person organization at EXP.
You already have 1,000. You're getting to 1,000.
My goal is to grow a 1,000-person organization.
I love it. That's amazing. Now, do they supply training?
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing. There's a minimum of 20 training classes a week in the cloud, whether you want to learn to do luxury real estate, whether you want to learn to do commercial real estate, whether you want to learn to overcome objections. And then in addition to that, Daron Campbell Coaching provides everybody that I sign up with my coaching as well.
Well, you heard it here. This guy's going to teach you how to fish and become wealthy in real estate if you put in the work. You're listening to the $4 billion man, the #1 RE/MAX agent in apartment sales. Thank you, my man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.